Most people are chasing 100 different ideas, trying to find their passion or get lucky. Meanwhile, the few people making serious money have mastered one thing. It's not about talent, it's not about connections, and it sure as hell isn't about waiting for the right time. The only skill that truly makes money, it's the ability to solve valuable problems and do it better than anyone else. That's it. People don't pay for ideas, effort, or motivation. They pay for results, and results come from solving problems. The first thing you have to understand is that every dollar you'll ever make in your life will come from being a solution to someone else's pain. It doesn't matter if it's a broken faucet, a struggling business, or a parent trying to help their kid understand math. Everywhere you look, problems are sitting there, quietly begging for someone to step up and fix them. The biggest mistake most people make is starting with themselves. They ask questions like, "What am I passionate about?" or "What can I do?" when the better question is, "What problem can I solve?" Look at any successful person or business. Underneath the surface, the core of their success is their ability to address a problem that enough people have. The person who makes the most money in the room is almost always the person who solves the biggest or most expensive problem. An orthopedic surgeon doesn't make a lot of money because he likes working long hours. He makes a lot of money because he can fix knees, shoulders, and spines, allowing people to walk, work, and live pain-free. A software company doesn't make billions because it has a cool name and a fancy office. It makes billions because it eliminates bottlenecks, saves time, or saves money for other businesses. This is how value works. You find a problem, you fix it, and you get paid. The more critical the problem, the more it's worth. The more critical the problem, the less price sensitive the person with the problem becomes. Someone with a broken tooth doesn't haggle over a dentist's rate. Someone with a failing heart doesn't ask for a discount. Someone who needs their website to work for a launch doesn't pinch pennies when it's about making or losing six figures in an afternoon. The takeaway is this. Your income is a direct reflection of the quality and urgency of the problem you solve. People like to pretend that making money is about being in the right place at the right time, about connections, about luck, about external factors. But if you dig deep into any successful endeavor, you'll find that its roots are in problem solving. Sometimes that problem is physical, sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's financial, and sometimes it's social. But regardless of its nature, it always has an owner, someone who feels its pain and is looking for a way out. Those are the people you have to focus on. Developing the ability to recognize problems worth solving is a skill in itself. It means looking beyond surface level complaints and identifying the deeper, systemic pain points. It means listening to how people talk about their struggles and noticing what they're already trying to fix. It means getting out of the echo chamber of your own ideas and focusing your attention on the market, on reality. The more clearly you can define a problem, its cost, its urgency, its ripple effects, the closer you get to finding a solution worth paying for. It doesn't matter if you're starting a business, building a career, or trying to monetize a hobby. What separates those who make serious money from those who struggle is their obsession with identifying big, expensive problems. You don't have to invent a new one. You just have to recognize the right one and commit to solving it better than anyone else. The biggest shift you can make in your approach to making money is to focus all your energy on mastering the ability to solve valuable problems better than anyone else. Most people spend their lives distracted by noise, chasing ideas, trying to juggle 10 things at once, hoping one of them somehow pops. Meanwhile, the people who win have made a very different decision. They pick one significant problem, one that matters to a lot of people, and they devote themselves to mastering it. They study it. They understand its nuances. They learn why it's painful, why people pay for a fix, and how to deliver a solution that's clearly better than alternatives available. Developing this ability is about going deep. It's about committing to a level of proficiency that most aren't willing to put in. You don't beat the average person by trying harder for 5 minutes. You beat them by going down a path long enough and deep enough that you can anticipate needs before a person can voice them. You beat them by knowing where their pain lies and by knowing how to make it go away reliably and repeatedly. People often confuse this with being a jack of all trades. It's the opposite. The person who can fix anything, sort of, doesn't win. The person who can fix one critical thing reliably at a higher level than anyone else is the person people remember, seek out, and pay premium prices for. An expert doesn't compete on effort. An expert competes on results. An expert doesn't get called in because someone likes their hustle. They get called in because their name is associated with fixing a specific, costly problem. This doesn't happen overnight, and that's precisely why so few people pursue it. Getting good at solving valuable problems means putting in repetitions when no one is watching. It means doing the unsexy work of learning, refining, and testing until your solution is sharp. It means accepting feedback and using it to build a better version of yourself and your offer every step of the way. This is how you evolve from being one more person chasing opportunities to being the person opportunities are chasing. Developing this ability also means focusing your efforts where the stakes are highest. Not every problem is worth solving, and not every person is worth serving. You have to ask yourself, how costly is this problem? What does it mean for the person or company dealing with it? What are they already trying to do about it? Will they pay for a better answer? The more clearly you understand these questions, the closer you are to making yourself invaluable. Mastery doesn't just create income, it creates leverage. When you solve an expensive problem better than others, you have pricing power. You have the ability to name your rate, pick your clients, and set the terms of how you work. You aren't a commodity anymore. You aren't bidding for a spot. You're being sought out because you've positioned yourself as the best solution in a world full of average options. People don't pay for time, they pay for outcomes. The person making 10 times as much as the person next to them doesn't necessarily work 10 times harder or 10 times longer. They solve a problem that is 10 times more urgent, 10 times more costly, or 10 times more valuable when solved. Developing the ability to do that reliably is the foundation of making serious money, regardless of your industry or background. It's not about finding the right trend or platform. It's about choosing to become the person who can solve the right problem better than anyone else. That's the skill that separates those who struggle from those who dominate. Most people have been taught to follow their passion, as if it's some sort of magical map to financial success. It's a nice thought, and it's a convenient excuse for why people end up chasing ideas that don't make money. The reality is this: the market doesn't care about your passion. The market doesn't owe you anything. The market only cares about one thing: value. You don't get paid because you're passionate about something. You get paid because you solve a problem for someone else, and that person finds your solution worth more than the money they give you. That's why you have to detach from the idea that passion is enough. The person making a lot of money doesn't necessarily love every second of their work. What they have is an obsession with creating value. They have a deep understanding that if you can solve a costly or urgent problem reliably, you'll win. They've learned to shift the focus from themselves, what they like, what excites them, to the person with the problem, and what it takes to make that person's life better. People don't spend money because you're passionate. They spend money because you can help them get from where they are to where they want to be. Sometimes that means making more money. Sometimes it means getting more time. Sometimes it means making a person feel less pain. Whatever it is, value is always measured by the person receiving it, not by the person delivering it. You can be passionate about singing songs, making jewelry, or designing logos, but if those things don't solve a problem or fulfill a desire for someone else, then that passion is just a hobby. This doesn't mean passion doesn't matter at all. It can be the fuel that keeps you going when things get hard, but passion doesn't justify charging a premium price. The market doesn't reward effort. The market doesn't reward how long you worked, how much you sacrificed, or how much you loved doing it. The market only rewards results. The person who understands this doesn't waste time trying to monetize their interests blindly. They find a problem that people are already paying for and then figure out how to solve it better, faster, or cheaper than anyone else. To shift from passion to value, you have to start looking at the world like an investigator. Observe Listen, ask questions. What are people complaining about? What do businesses spend too much money fixing? What do customers say when they walk away from a sale? What are the bottlenecks? What are the pain points? The more you can tune into those signals, the closer you get to finding an area where you can create disproportionate value. That's where the money is. Not in doing what you like, but in doing what people need. Not in expressing yourself, but in creating an outcome for others. You can like what you do, sure, and it certainly doesn't hurt to have interest in it, but liking it doesn't pay the bills. Making it worth someone else's money does. This is why the people making serious money rarely say, "I just followed my passion." What they really mean is, "I found a problem worth solving, I learned how to solve it better than anyone else, and I built a reputation doing it." Over and over again until the money became a byproduct of providing value. Passion can come later. Passion can evolve. Passion can be the reward for mastering a craft that people actually care about. But in the end, making money is about focusing on value first and making passion an ally, not excuse. Reputation is a currency that compounds. Most people think making money is about the transaction, doing the work, and getting paid for it. But the reality is that making serious long-term money is about making people remember you, making them trust you, making them tell others about you. You can be the best in the room at what you do, but if no one knows it, and if no one has evidence that you can deliver, then you're a commodity. The difference between being a commodity and being a brand worth paying a premium for is reputation. Reputation is built one result at a time. It's built by doing the hard thing when no one is watching. It's built by saying no to the quick win that compromises long-term trust. It's built by making sure the person across from you walks away saying, "That was worth every dollar, and I'd hire them again." The easiest way to charge higher prices and work with better clients is to have a track record of making those clients better off than when you found them. People forget this because it doesn't happen overnight. In a world obsessed with quick wins and viral moments, it's tempting to focus more on being seen than on being trusted. But trust is the engine of reputation. Trust is built by showing up consistently and doing the right thing repeatedly, regardless of whether the person is a huge client or a small one. What you do for the person with $10 today shapes how the person with $10 million sees you tomorrow. Reputation is a signal in a noisy world. It's a filter that separates those worth listening to from those worth ignoring. In every industry, every market, every space where money changes hands, the biggest winners have one thing in common. When someone mentions their name, it triggers a feeling. Sometimes it's a feeling of reliability, sometimes it's a sense of quality, sometimes it's a belief that these people just get results. Whatever it is, that feeling is worth more than any ad campaign, any clever sales pitch, or any short-term discount. The longer you focus on making every interaction, every transaction, every piece of work an example of the value you claim to deliver, the more those examples compound. You won't have to scream for attention when you have a reputation that speaks for itself. The best opportunities come from referrals, and referrals come from results. The best clients seek out the person who solves their biggest problem because someone they trust said, "Talk to this person." They'll fix it. People underestimate how much this impacts pricing. When you have a reputation for doing the job better than anyone else, you no longer have to justify charging more. The work itself justifies the price. You move from competing with others based on price to setting the price that best reflects the value you create. This is the shift from chasing opportunities to choosing them, from hustling endlessly to focusing intentionally, from being one of many to being one of one. Reputation is built in moments when you could have cut corners but didn't. It's built in moments when you chose to fix a mistake rather than hide it. It's built when you refuse to overpromise, refuse to exaggerate, refuse to mislead. These moments add up. They shape how people talk about you when you're not in the room. In the end, making serious money is about making serious trust, and making serious trust is about making serious results. The biggest wins don't come from doing more things for more people, they come from doing the right things for the right people every time until those results define you. People don't buy products or services, they buy offers. The person who understands this doesn't just build a better service or a better product, they build an offer that's too good to walk away from. An offer is more than a description of what you do. It's a reason for someone to say, if I don't move on this right now, I'm making a mistake. It's about creating urgency, trust, and clarity all at once. The ability to craft an offer is one of the highest leverage skills you can develop, and it separates the person making a living from the person making a fortune. At its core, an offer is about focusing on the person you're trying to help and removing every barrier that would stop them from acting. Most people try to sell by listing features, more calls, more templates, longer access, but features don't create desire. Results do. The person on the other end of the offer doesn't care about how many hours you work. They care about how much closer your work can get them to their goal. An irresistible offer doesn't just tell them this, it makes it obvious, almost inevitable. This is why guarantees matter. This is why bonuses matter. This is why framing your offer in terms of outcomes, not effort, is so critical. You're answering the unspoken questions that every potential buyer has. Will this work for me? Will this save me time? Will this make or save me money? Will this make my life better? An offer that speaks clearly to those questions removes hesitation and replaces it with confidence. The best offers also acknowledge the risk the person is taking by saying yes. When you make it easy for someone to walk away if it doesn't work, you remove the biggest objection in their mind. The person making an offer worth accepting doesn't run from skepticism, they disarm it. They say, if this doesn't work for you, here's how you walk away whole. That single shift turns a sale from a risk into an opportunity. Think about how people spend money every day. They don't buy because they have too much cash. They buy because the right offer makes them feel like saying no would cost more than saying yes. An offer that delivers a solution worth 10 times its cost doesn't require a hard sell. It requires making sure that the person understands the cost of doing nothing. To build an offer like this, you have to listen first. You have to understand the objections and fears of the person you're trying to help. You have to ask questions until you can describe their problem as well as they can. Only then can you position your solution as the bridge between where they are and where they want to be. The goal is that when you present your offer, the person feels seen, understood, and confident that saying yes is the right move. A strong offer doesn't just sell a transaction. It starts a relationship. It turns a skeptical prospect into a loyal customer. The person making serious money doesn't need to spam their audience or run endless discounts. They have a reputation for making offers that work, offers that respect the person, solve the problem, and justify every dollar spent. At the end of the day, making money isn't about clever slogans or manipulating emotions. It's about creating an offer so aligned with the person you're trying to help that it doesn't feel like a sale. It feels like the obvious next step. The biggest mistake people make after finding a problem worth solving and building an offer that works is treating it like a one-off win. The skill that separates the person making a living from the person building an empire is knowing how to reinvent and scale that skill endlessly. What you can't do for one person, you can do for 10. What you can do for 10 people, you can do for 100. What you can do for 100, you can build into a system that serves 1,000. The principle doesn't change, the execution does. Reinvention doesn't mean starting over every time. It means extracting the core of what works and finding ways to multiply it. Sometimes that means hiring and training a team. Sometimes it means packaging your solution into a product. Sometimes it means creating a process or a piece of technology that allows you to serve more people without being the bottleneck. The person making serious money doesn't think in terms of hours worked. They think in terms of outcomes delivered at scale. This doesn't mean you can skip the hard part of mastering the skill first. You can't scale what doesn't work. You can't teach what you don't understand. The person with no depth can only create a shallow replica, and shallow replicas don't last. The people who build businesses that stand the test of time are those who put in the repetitions. learned every corner of their craft, and then asked, how can I multiply this? How can I turn this into a process? How can I make sure that when 10 or 100 or 1,000 people experience this, the results are still exceptional? Reinvention also means paying attention to how the market evolves. The problem you solved last year may shift this year. The tools you used may no longer be the best available. The person making serious money doesn't cling to the method that worked yesterday just because it worked. They stay close to the problem, watch how it changes, and evolve their approach. What worked for 10 clients may break when you try to apply it to 100. What worked for 100 may require a different level of infrastructure when you try to apply it to 10,000. This is why scaling is as much about mindset as mechanics. You have to accept that what got you here won't necessarily get you to the next level. You have to be willing to kill ideas that no longer fit, to shift focus when needed, and to build teams and systems that can carry the weight you can't carry alone. You have to recognize when to step out of the role of technician and into the role of architect, someone who designs and guides rather than doing every piece of work themselves. At its best, this process of reinvention creates leverage. Leverage means doing more with less, creating results that compound, making an impact that doesn't require your direct input every moment of every day. Leverage allows you to turn a single insight, a single skill, a single approach into a machine that operates and delivers value far beyond your own individual effort. The person making serious money understands that every new level is built on the foundation of the one that came before it. They don't abandon what works, and they don't try to skip the hard part. They evolve, adapt, and multiply. They turn a solution for one person into a solution for many, making themselves more valuable every step of the way. In doing so, they build more than a paycheck. They build a legacy.